Topic 1: Introduction to Client-Server Network Setup. A computer network consists of two or more computers intended to share resources. A client-server network is a system where or more computers, called clients, connect to a central computer named a server to share or use resources. Each client's computer must be an operating system that allows it to identify the particulate in the network. Client-servers networking. A computer network is referred as a client-server if at least of the computers is used server. Other computers referred as clients, besides the computer of other types devices can be a part of the network. In client-server environment, each computer still holds or can still hold its or some resources and files. Other computers can access the resources stored in computer. As a peer-to-peer scenario, one of the particularities of the client-server network is that the files and resources are centralized. It means that a computer that serves can hold them and other computer can access them. Since the server is always on, the client's machine can access the files resources without caring whatever certain computer is on. One of the consequences of client-server network is that if the server is turned off, the resources and sometimes most of the resources on the network are not available. In fact, one of the ways to set up client-server network is to have more than one server in case each server can play a different role. Another big advantage of client-server network is that security is created, managed, and can highly get enforced to access the network. A person's code, high user must provide sometimes credentials such as username, passwords. If the credentials are not available, the user is prevented from accessing the network. The client-server type of network also provides many other advantages, such as centralized backup, intranet, capability, internet monitoring, and etc. Small of these services can be held by one server. In a medium to large network, can be many servers with each performing different tasks. Topic 2: Active Directory Installation. What is Active Directory Installation? Active Directory Installation Wizard is a wizard of machine running Microsoft Windows Server that install Active Directory service, a member of server, turning into a domain controller. You can use Active Directory Installation Wizard to create new domain controller with a new domain tree. These items are objects in the Active Directory database. As a matter of fact, every time you log into corporate network using an login request, domain controller, and Active Directory. What is domain controller? A domain controller is a server computer that responding security authentication requests within a computer network domain. It's a network server that's responsible for allowing hosts access to domain resources. It is authenticates users, stores user account information of enforces security policy for a domain. What is domain? A domain name is an identification string that defines the real meaning of administrative authority or controller. Within the Internet, domain names are used in various networking contexts and for application-specific meaning addressing purpose. Any registration in DNS is a domain name. What is server role? A server role is a major job that server can be performed. It recommended that server not have too many roles. A domain controller usually has only two roles: Active Dictionary Domain Service and Domain Name Service. If you're trying to create some other controls, you can use another domain controller to prevent other population of roles in single domain controller that can cause less productivity. Domain name service is a service provided by a server that allows you to find another computers in your network, allows you to find friendly name of machine instead of its IP address, allowing your client to get IP address from DNS service and find resources. Number 1. Installation. Open the Server Manager to click on Roles with the Bring Up the Roles summary of the right size where you are click another Add Roles link. Number 2. Select Server Role. Check Active Directory Domain Service, then click Install. See Figure 1.1 from the list. You'll be told need to add. Click the Add Required Figure. See Figure 2.2 button and click Move On. Number 3. Add features requirements. A brief introduction to Active Directory will be displayed as well as few links, additional resources. You can just click to X, skip past, here the click starts installing the binaries for Active Directory. Number 4. Confirm installation. When the installation is finished, you will be shown the message of successful configuration. Just click close. Number 5. Installation result. Configuration. Open the Server Manager, expand roles, click Active Directory Domain Services. On the right side, click the Run Active Directory Domain Service Installation Wizard. The POMAX link to show the Figure 6 of your can use alternative methods shown in Figure 7. Figure 8. Active Directory Domain Services Installation Wizards. The message that is shown now relates the older clients that do not support the new cryptographic algorithms supported by server in 2008 R2. These are used by default in server 208 R2. Click the next move on. Operating system compatibility. Choose to create new domain, a new Flores deployment configuration. Naming the Flores root domain. Change the Flores functional level server in 2008 R2. Additional domain controller options. A declaration for DNS server cannot be created because authoritative parent zone cannot be found or it does not run Windows DNS server. If you are not integrated with the existing DNS infrastructure, you should manually create declaration to this DNS server to parent zone. Ensure reliable name resolution from outside the domain. It's mail.com, otherwise no action required. If you are installing Flores root domain controller that using Active Directory integrated DNS, you typically do not need to be concerned about this warning message. Number 9. You will need to choose the place store log files. It is the best practice to store the database and sizable folder on the drive and the log files separate the drive. But since this is not lab environment, just leave them all on the same drive. Number 10. Assign password administrator account that will be used when this domain controller is used in the directory service restore mode. Review the summary of configure service. You will be able to see what components are being installed by looking the wingbox. If reboot on completion, check the box of not checked. You will proceed the manual reboot shown in the figure 1.1, followed by completing Active Directory domain service. Topic 3. DHCP installation, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. It's a client-server protocol that automatically provides an Internet Protocol's IP host with the IP address and other related configuration information such as subnet, mask, and default gateway RFC 2131 and 2132 define DHCP is an Internet Engineering Task Force. It stands based on Bootstrap Protocol, a protocol with DHCP shares implementation details, allows the host obtain required TCP IP configuration information from a DHCP server. To install the DHCP server role on the Windows Server 2008. Number 1. Choose Start. The Manage Your Server application appears. Number 2. Click the roles link, then click Add Role. Add the Roles wizard appears. Number 3. Click Next to get wizard started. The wizard is display list available server roles. Number 4. Select DHCP server from the list roles and click Next. The wizard displays an explanation of DHCP. 5. Click Next. Follow this step. The wizard displays a list of the server network connections that have a static IP address as shown the following illustration. In this example, only one network connection has a static IP address assigned. Most network service will have list 2. Select a static IP address you want to for the DPH server, then click. Number 9. Optional. If you want to enable Wins, enter the Wins server configuration, then click Next. If you don't want to use Wins, skip this step and just click Next. Either the way next screen let you configure scope. Number 10. To create a new scope, click the Add Scope button. Enter the information for new scope. You must enter the following information. Enter the information for the following scope. You must enter the following information. Scope name. The name can anything you want. Use generic name or such as office, your company name, unless you're creating two or more scope. Then names should be indicate the functional of the scope. Scope starting IP address. This is the lowest IP address that will be issued in this scope. Scope ending IP address. This is the highest IP address that will be issued in this scope. Subnet mask. This is the subnet mask issued for IP address that in this scope. Default gateway. This is the default gateway address that will be used in this scope. This is usually addressed on your routine. 12. Select the active scope checkbox and then click OK. Then scope is created as shown below. When you finish creating scope, click Next. The wizard asks whatever you want to enable the state lights mode, which is used for IPv6. Disable that mode unless dealing with the IPv6 clients is important. 14. Click Next. The wizard asks the credential to use when creating this DHCP server. The default is used or current login credentials on your network. 15. Click Next. The wizard display confirm screen that summarize setting you have entered for the DHCP server. Click Install. The DPH server is created. There might be few minutes when your server is finished. A final result page is displayed and confirm that server has properly installed. 17. Click Close. You're done. Topic 4. Creating OU and Users Account. What is OU? Organization Unit is a container that holds AD objects like user accounts, computer accounts, and groups. OUs help keep your objects organized but also are used control what its user can't among the other thing. Well, start of building a few OUs, our users' computer accounts will have place to live. Creating an organization unit. Start by opening your server manager, then expand the roles, actions, eating or organizational units, OU. Computer accounts. What is computer accounts? The computer account is security principle and it can be authenticated and granted permission to access resources. A computer account is automatically created for each computer running listed operating system when the computer joins the domain. OU versus group. Groups are generally used for security purposes like giving permission on resources or granting privilege in application. An OU organization unit is more of a logical boundary. It can contain groups, users, computers, and other OUs. Expand the Active Directory domain service. Click the Sign section. Click on the Active Directory users and computers. Number 3. At the point of should be able to see domain in our example, we are using Ismail domain. Go ahead and expand the domain. Click the sign. Now we need to create an organizational unit for group to live. In this example, we are going to create an OU for our CSS student. To create a new organizational unit, right-click on your domain name, point to New Optional and then select Organizational Units. Type the name of OU. Make sure that box is checked. Next, to protect your container from accidental deletion, click OK. User accounts. Number 1. Open the server manager. Open roles. Click Open the Active Directory users. Expand the domain name. Ismail.com. Select the organization unit CS student where you want to create the new user account. In the MP area, right-click the Select New and click User. You can also right-click the OU and click New Users. Select to create new user account. As you can see below, there are two users login names. Their first logon name is called user principal's name. Super server ismail.com, which is the email-like name that can be used to log into domain joint computer. Second login name is window 2000. It's called some account name. Can also be used as user to log in domain joint computer in the form ismail user. After entering the details, click next. 4. Enter password for the user. Choose the various options and show the below. Once you're done, click Next. View the summary, then click Finish. Topic 5. Joining client PC on the domain. 1. Press the Windows R in your keyboard, then type NCPA/CPI, then click OK. 2. Local areas connection will appear. Right-click Local areas connection, then click Properties. 3. Click Internet Protocol version. 4. Add following network configuration where. 5. click OK, and then 6, click Close. Join domain using Windows 7. Here's the step. 1. On the taskbar, click Start, right-click Computer and click Properties. Number 2, click Change the setting. 3. In the System Properties dialog box, click the Computer Name tab and click Change button. Note, if the computer is running Microsoft Windows 7 Home Premium, Basic, or Starter, domain radio is deasable, indicating the computer is not allowed to join the domain. 4. After specifying the name, the computer, and the domain to join, click OK. You should be asked the provided of the username the password for the user who has permission to let a computer join the domain. 5. Type the username of user with admin privilege which is allowed the computer to join domain. Press tab, then type account's password. 6. After entering user the password, click OK. You will receive the welcome message. Restart your computer. And after that, you see Finish. Topic 6. Installing File Services. What is installing file services? File services provide the central location for storing and sharing files across the network. When many users require to access the same files, application data will need to configure file server throughout the organization. Step. Go to the Start menu and select Server Manager. Number 2. Server Manager console with the Open Select Add Roles right pane. 3. Select the file service role from the roles list and click Next. 4. Next, read the introduction the file service and click Next. 5. Select Create a namespace letter using DFS Management optional and click Next. 7. Review the confirmation wizard for role-to-role services and click Install. Number 8. Check the installation progress. 9. Finish. 7. Configure NTFS permission. NTF permissions are based on the file system used Windows system since Windows NTR11 because it's based on the file system. It's offer more granular controller who can access what is file. As a consequence, requires more administration to share permission. NTF permission can only apply NTFS formatted text. Older device and FT32 formatting cannot have NTFS permission. NTFS permission apply to user log or locally on server as well as work users. The permissions are based on the permission granted to user when the log on Windows and can apply the individual of groups, like the groups or individuals. NTFS permission have 5 basic types of permission. Write the file and add files. Read, view files further and properties. Read and execute, read files and run executable files and script. Modify, view the modify, add, delete files and their properties. Full control, add, modify, delete and folder files and change the permission. Allow or deny. NTF permission can allow, deny, or access the user and groups. Thus, permission might be granted to read, write, and modify but not execute. Permission can set, deny, or allow. The most common way to permission is use Windows Explorer to use permission for an object. In Windows Explorer, right-click the file folder or volume, choose the properties from the content menu. The properties dialog appears. Click the Security tab. Under the group username, select Add Groups to Users. At the bottom, allow, deny, or available permission. Topic 7. Configuring DNS Reverse Lookup Zone. Reverse Lookup Zones is support the revelation of IP address and host name, although they are optional in the most network devices. Lookup zone might be necessary for certain secure applications that require the validation of IP address. Although adding reverse lookup zone domain name system DNS is similarity in many respects of creating forward lookup zone, there are some important differences. Another important difference is the subdomain name is constructed from the address of the subnet of contains range addresses for which is reverse lookup zone. It is responsible when you create a reverse lookup zone, you are specify the address it in particular format so that it can be recognized by the DNS server to pertaining the addresses reverse lookup query. Adding reverse lookup zone. 1. To open DNS Manager, click Start Point Administrative Tools and then click DNS. 2. Right-click Reverse Lookup Zone under Domain Name System DNS Server and click New Zone to open the new zone. 3. Click Next. 4. Select type of zone and click 5. Select zone data, replicate and click next. 6. The next screen will ask whether your verse lookup zone should be for IP4 or IPv6. Choose the appropriate and select next. If you both need it, you will have configured separately. 7. Now enter the network ID for the zone. It is screen different if an IPv6 reverse zone is chosen. Enter the network ID, select next. 8. Select type of dynamic updates and click next. Teaching and learning activities. There are activities related to a concept of thinking skills that we covered in the module. It is concludes questions activity that integrates an idea, help learns to connect the module questions, access progress, and look ahead. Likewise, this may contain additional problems that could be used in homework or tests or additional reading that allows you to apply the new knowledge and skills in different contexts. Flexible teaching learning modality. Flexible teaching learning modality could be adapted for online synchronous, Zoom, Google Meet, Messenger, and may be utilized by faculty for online synchronous, detailed educational and learning management system for studies who do not have internet access. Hard copy and modules, exercise manuals, worksheets shall submitted to retrieve in designated drop-in pick-up points.